Hello, my name is Áurea, and I am an intuitive and energy healer and a life coach. And I am going to speak on something that has pretty much been weighing on my mind for about a week. I am going to speak about spirituality and racism, especially now considering the protests, the Black Lives Matter protests, and the fact that some of it is being co opted by other people that are actually looking to make the message be muddled and make the people that are actually out there protesting for a legitimate reason seem to be like the villains. So I am going to start by smudging and clearing space because this is a very sensitive subject for, I'm sure, a lot of us. And then it's also a very, there's just a lot of energy around inequality, around racism, around people that just want to pretend like we are not in a society that has perpetuated, basically, that was built on stolen land with stolen people. And that is the truth of the matter. This country was founded with racism, with genocide, with all of it. The indigenous people that were killed and their land that was taken and co-opted, and the people that were stolen from their lands in Africa and brought here to basically work as slaves. It's not even work, to be enslaved. So let's call it what it is. So I'm clearing the energy, and I am, for those that don't know me, I am Latina. I am one of these Latinos that can pass for white because my skin is fair enough and I am articulate enough and I'm educated enough with my master's degrees from prestigious universities. So there's a lot of privilege that I have. And it's something that it took me because of my family upbringing, because of my educational indoctrination, because it's just this is simply the system that we live in. The system that we live in rewards certain people unfairly for not having earned. The playing field is not level. If you are African American, if you are ethnic, the playing field is not the same as if you are a white person. And even within whiteness is a social construct. What does that mean? That means it's something that is made up by our society to make certain people believe that they are better than others simply because of the color of their skin. And certain people have been indoctrinated into whiteness. The Italians were seen as other when they came over here. The Irish, like, so many people became part of the system that we call white. And now this system is disproportionately condemning innocent Black people, particularly, and brown people too, Latinos, to death for no reason, unarmed, posing no danger, no threat. Meanwhile, other people who are white get to storm their state capitals with fucking rifles. It's not right. And so, speaking of my experience, I am an actress as well. It's what I've done for 10 years. And to have Hollywood look at me and tell me I'm not Latina enough, that shit is ridiculous. What do you mean I'm not Latina enough? Are you Latino? Do you know that we Latinos from all over come in all different shades of color, all different educational backgrounds, all different socioeconomic backgrounds? My family were landowners. My family is educated. So because I speak properly, I'm not Latina enough, because I'm not dark enough, because I'm not junky looking enough, I'm not Latina enough? I had a casting director. I went in for a casting director for a workshop, And for those who don't know, so in order to get into the entertainment industry, the film industry, sometimes you have to take classes with casting directors. Casting directors cast the films and the TV shows, and you have to do a scene for them that is exemplary of your type. And your type can be a business person, a doctor, a gangbanger. And for some reason, racism, this person didn't believe me when I came in and played the role of an articulate young doctor. Meanwhile, I have the degrees to prove that I am an educated, articulate human being. But because I'm Latina, she didn't see it believable for me to be playing a doctor that went to school at a prestigious university that had certain accolades. She wanted me to come back in and do, what was it? She wanted me to do the role of a battered woman who had issues with drugs, stereotypical Hollywood bullshit of what y'all think Latinos are. What was it that the president said? We're all rapists, drug dealers, and not very good people? Yeah. So I went back in, did the role that this person asked. Meanwhile, I was bitching to my acting coach, like, this is bullshit. And she agreed. White woman agreed. I did the scene, and it still wasn't right. Do you want to know why it wasn't right? Because it is not true to who I am. Yes, some of us have had issues with drugs. Some of us have been battered and abused. Not all of us. And if that's not your reality, I don't care how good a fucking actress you are. You're not gonna portray that. It's just not possible. So, instances of racism in Hollywood. As if y'all are surprised. We have white women playing Asians. Where the hell does that make any kind of sense? Spirituality. There are way too many love and light spiritual people that I don't understand. I have to take a deep breath. I'm sorry, but getting angry where it is warranted is a good thing. Okay, and all of you people that are quoting Martin Luther King, he was shot, he was assassinated. Okay, don't pretend like these figures that fought for civil rights were well received by the mass population. They weren't. They were killed. Learn how to call a spade a spade. And I'm not saying that being brought up racist, living in a racist society, being indoctrinated by the educational system to believe X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying that in and of itself makes you a bad person. Okay, I'm not saying that you making assumptions about whether someone speaks proper English because they're Latino or Latina makes you a bad person. What I'm saying is that those constructs that we have in our head are part of the problem are actually part of the problem with the underlying inequalities that exist in our society. So until we can all do the work of looking within ourselves and acknowledging our own personal set of biases, our own personal set of prejudices, our own personal set of ingrained racist ideologies that we take from the media, from the educational system, from our own families. My own family is not exempt. But until we can acknowledge the roots of evil, because that is evil, believing that another person is not human because of their skin tone or because of where they came from or because of their sexual orientation, you name it. That is not humanity. And I don't care who the hell you are. That is wrong on a fundamental human level. So until we can all dismantle the roots of evil, this evil that exists in our own lives, just as it exists in society, until we can each look at ourselves honestly and rawly and be like, oh yeah, I messed up. And actually choose, consciously choose to do better. We are going to be in the same situation. But thankfully, a lot of us are doing the work or have done the work and are continuing to do the work. So I commend you. Those white people that are actually willing to do the work and to actually be quiet at this point in time and listen and educate yourself as to the injustices and iniquities that have been perpetuated against communities of Black communities, Latino communities, ethnic communities, I commend you. The rest of us and the rest of all of y'all need to sit down and get educated and do your work, because shit ain't right. And my family, my Latinos, my African American brothers and sisters, we are not okay. And I stand with you. So number one, this is what we got to do. I don't care where you are on your spiritual journey. I don't care where you are emotionally. White people, white passing Latinos. Yeah, I'm talking to you too. Asians that think that they're white. Anyone who is brainwashing themselves into thinking that you're okay, allowing this shit to perpetuate, you're wrong, and you need to do your work and you need to be quiet. So, number one, actually take the time to self-reflect and call yourself out on your own personal biases, your own personal prejudices, and the ingrained roots of racism that exist within your own life, because they're there. They're there for all of us. I have to consistently do my own work. We all do. This isn't just a one and done and we're good. That's not the way it works. So that's what I ask you to do. Educate yourself. Number two, my spiritual people. Again, number one, and look for teachers that can actually, spiritual teachers and mentors, that can actually verbalize where their privilege is coming from. Any white person that is teaching indigenous shamanic practices or kundalini or some kind of yoga or esoteric tantra, any religion, any spiritual practice, indigenous, Indian, Asian, if you are not acknowledging your privilege, it could even be Wicca, Santeria. If you're calling upon your Reuben freaking gods and goddesses as a white person, and you're not acknowledging the fact that your people oppressed, killed, enslaved, genocide of the indigenous tribes, the fact that they were not allowed to practice their own religions, their own spiritual traditions, not able to speak their own languages. Yeah, if you're not acknowledging that as part of your teaching, that's called cultural appropriation. That's not yours. You stole it from somebody else. And if you cannot acknowledge your privilege and being able to practice that without being persecuted, without having had the scars in your DNA, like the Africans, like the Native Americans, if you do not have the scars in your DNA and you are not acknowledging your privilege, people need to get the hell away from you, because you're not being true as a spiritual teacher. You're not in integrity and you're not in alignment. All of us who are practicing and calling upon other spiritual practices need to be aware of this. And we need to check ourselves and make sure we speak on it clearly and articulately, because it's not cool. And then white people, spiritual white people. When an ethnic person accuses you of cultural appropriation, and you go on some random social media platform to speak about how you feel so hurt that they think you're culturally appropriated some shit, and you're not listening to the people of color that actually take the time to address what the hell's really going on, and you only listen to the white people that are basically trying, to pat you on the back and be like, it's okay, it's all right, you did good, you're such a good girl. You're full of shit. And you know what? It's all gonna come out. So if anyone thinks that they're gonna just bypass their spiritual growth because they're avoiding the issues of the social inequalities that we live in, racism, and you're not acknowledging your privilege and being able to practice religions so that other people were killed for, yeah, we're coming for you too, boo. And not we, like people. I mean karma. Because the universe, shit is real. Whatever you put out into the world and whatever you don't want to see within yourself, you want to put on blinders for, the universe is going to unmask all of it. And it's not going to be pretty. So I suggest that you do your work. And that brings me to my second point. So my second point, please, please, please find ethnic astrologers, ethnic spiritual teachers, ethnic mediums, ethnic channels. Find them. We exist, ethnic spiritual teachers, mentors, so that you can get a different perspective and a more truer, real perspective as to what spirituality is. Because yes, we are all one. That is the truth. However, if we cannot acknowledge that certain people have different advantages than others, then we're not being true to our spiritual path. So, 3, seek out businesses of color to support. There are plenty of capable, incredibly talented African American writers, African American, Latino healers, Reiki practitioners, meditation teachers, all over. Plenty. Just because a person is white does not mean they're capable. I know that we've been conditioned societally to believe that the whiter your skin, the better someone is. Let's start unmasking that, because that is poison, and that is poison deep in our souls. And until we can all see, and I'm not saying don't see color, because we need to see color in order to transform this situation. Until we can take the time to really support communities of color, support people of color, and to truly ally ourselves with the principles of what spirituality is, which is we are all one. We all are worthy of respect, of success, of happiness, of abundance, every one of us. So until you can fully align and have integrity within that, then there's still work to do. So that is pretty much what I have to say about this. My heart is broken because there is still so much work to do, and there's so many people that care more about the rioting and the destruction of public property or property more so than they care about human lives. And you don't know what all of those lives that were taken, executed by the police force in different areas of this country. You don't know what they could have done. You don't know what they could have contributed. How dare you think that somehow everyone's taking shit out of proportion? Because 400 years of systemic oppression and inequality and inhumane treatment, we should just get over it. There's your inhumanity showing. So my heart goes out to the protesters, to the people whose lives, who've been affected by the loss of life, to the people that still live in fear because they cannot call the police to actually help them and they can't count on them. So my heart goes out to you, because no one, I don't care what color, what creed, what religion, I don't care. No one should feel unsafe. We all have a fundamental right as human beings to feel safe, to feel protected, to feel loved, to feel seen and accepted and valued and respected. All of those things. Every single human being deserves it. And there is not one person that I believe cannot change. But, I'm not going to say but, and it takes work, and it's not pretty, and it's not all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. It's not. It takes hard work. It takes courage. It takes balls to actually look at yourself clearly. Look at the way you were raised. Look at the people around you and call shit out. Call it by its name. In your family, in your friend circles, in your work, call it out. Obviously do it with the right amount of respect for the other person. But now is not the time for blinders. Now is the time for us to look within, make the changes within, and then perpetuate that within our circles, within our families, within our communities, and seek out the voices of the people that have been living through this for years and decades. Seek those voices out and listen. Listen. And the last thing I will say is, people of color, please, please, please do not ask white people how to solve racism. They're not going to have the answer. Okay? You cannot benefit from a system designed for your benefit to the exclusion of everyone else and expect them to have the answers. You can't. It's not possible. I don't care how well-intentioned the person is. It's not possible because they cannot see through the blinders of the constructs they have been ingrained and raised in. They can't. So don't. Don't. They will not have the answers, and they don't have the answers. The answers exist within each and every one of our hearts. Latinos, Asians, Middle Eastern, wherever you're from, whatever African Americans, all of us need to examine where we're racist, because everyone has it within them. It's all called colonialism. Asians value fucking whiteness too. So it's a pervasive problem, but it is something that we can do something about. But it takes work. And like I said, it's not all fucking rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. It takes real work. And it's gonna take time. But we need to reach out to our fellow brothers and sisters, African Americans, ask them if they're okay. Listen, support, and don't ask them for answers, please. Don't ask them stupid questions. Be there as a source of support. Don't try to ask them, oh, well, what should we do? No. If they want to share, let them. You listen. But do your own research. Look at resources. Donate to Black Lives Matter and other organizations that are for social equality. Do your own work. Don't expect Black people, don't expect Latinos to fucking pat you on the back and give you answers. We're not your fucking mammy. So with that, I am sending all of my love, all of my healing energy. My spirit is exhausted and tired, but my tiredness is nothing compared to what my fellow brothers and sisters of the African American community are going through and have gone through. So thank you so much all for fighting. Thank you for continuing to do the work. Thank you for standing out there in protest to our white allies and our Asian and Latinos that are out there protesting. Thank you so much. I am sending you all infinite blessings and white light so that you may be protected. And let's call the people that are creating chaos in this what the hell they are. Okay, be they police officers that are tearing up their own communities, or be they infiltrators from whatever white supremacist organization they're from. Let's call it out. Because the people that actually are for social justice, the Black Lives Matter people, they're not the ones tearing up neighborhoods. They're not. The peaceful protesters are not the problem. So let's call things what they are, and let's all commit to doing better, commit to consciously, actively creating a better world. Thank you. Thank you.